Now let's discuss regarding the dimensions of decentralized planning. Before going deeply into the decentralized planning, let's first discuss regarding centralization and decentralization. For a better understanding, here I have divided decentralization and centralization on the basis of comparison of meaning involves communication flow, decision making, advantages, power of decision making, implemented when and best suited for. First, let's discuss regarding the meaning of centralization and decentralization. What is centralization? The rotation of powers and authority with respect to the planning and decisions with the top management is known as centralization. So we can say it as a top-down approach. And in decentralization, the dissemination of authority, responsibilities and accountability to various management levels is known as decentralization. It is a bottom-up approach. And centralization involves systematic and consistent reservation of the authority. Here the communication flow will be vertical and decision making will be mostly slow. The main advantage can be said that the proper coordination and leadership will be there. Power of decision making only lies with the top management and it will be implemented when inadequate control over the organization. It is best suited for small sized organization. And what about decentralization? So decentralization involves the systematic disposal of authority. Here the communication flow is open and free and decision making are comparatively faster. The main advantage is that sharing of a burden and responsibility and the power of decision making lies in multiple persons having the power of decision making. It is implemented when considerable control over the organization and is best suited for large size organizations. These are the four dimensions of decentralization, namely functional, financial, administrative, and political. So what is functional decentralization? So when some functions are to be transferred from the national or state level to the sub-state level, it is necessary that such functions must be selected carefully. A random transfer of a function will result in inefficient and undesirable discharge of those functions at a lower level. Such fear arises because the competencies available at the lower level may not be adequate to do the justice of those functions. What is a financial decentralization? A planning at any level without the necessary financial authority and resources is meaningless. In our country, like in other countries, most financial resources are mobilized by central government, which then distributes them to the lower level. Division of these resources is done accordingly to the constitutional provision. The third dimension is administrative decentralization. The administrative decentralization is also known as deconcentration. It means deconcentration of functions and some powers from the government department and agencies to their field offices. However, the command remains at the top. Administrative decentralization involves taking a number of administrative actions, some of which are setting up officials at regional and local level to move closer to the people, making necessary delegation of powers, assigning adequate finances, etc. At last, we will be discussing regarding the political or democratic decentralization. So, in its perfect form, the concept of decentralization becomes the same as democratic decentralization. Now, all people take part in planning processes. When only the elected representative of the people take part in process, it is called partial decentralization. When all the section of population are empowered to take part in local affairs of the community, then it is called total decentralization. What is the need of a decentralized planning? Decentralized planning makes planning more meaningful, dynamic, and responsive to the needs of those whom planning is meant. Decentralized planning also provides the justification for planning at multiple levels. Top-down approach advocates mainly to facilitate the active participation of the people in the development process and also sustainable. Decentralized planning also gives a greater freedom to the local bodies and enterprises. Now let's discuss regarding the merit and demerit of decentralized planning. The merits are: it gives greater freedom to regional bodies and local enterprises, promotes popular participation and recognizes the value of local and sub-regional factors and the needs of the pluralized society. This decentralized planning helps in effective management. Coming to the demerit, it sometimes does not reflect national priorities. The administrative and political structure at the lower levels may act as constraint to change the development.